So I want to talk about the recent Jada and Will Smith controversy. Apparently, she has released a new memoir and she's been doing a lot of press lately talking about what's in the book. She revealed that her and Will have been separated and living apart for 7 years. She keeps expressing her undying love for Tupac. She claims he proposed to her while he was in jail. And it's just making people hate Jada even more than they already did since the whole August Alsina situation and the Oscar slap. And I think that most people at this point are tired of Jada and they really are feeling sorry for Will. And keep in mind that Will also released a memoir of his own a couple years back. And I saw a clip of an interview he did where they said in his book, he wrote about having his own extramarital affairs and wanting a harem of girlfriends while he was married.
Will Smith is continuing to get candid about his marriage to Jada Pinkett Smith. The Philadelphia native reveals that Jada was not the only one engaging in other relationships outside of their marriage. The Independence Day star also touches on his fantasies involving other women and candidly discusses working with an intimacy coach. Will's greatest desire in the world? To have a harem of girlfriends. Specifically, Will names Misty Copeland and Halle Berry and says his intimacy coach even worked on the list with him.
And this is the main reason why I never saw Will as a victim. Personally, I don't believe there's a villain or a victim in this relationship. I just think that because Jada is doing more talking and sharing more private details of the marriage than Will is, she looks like the bad guy to everybody. And I saw a few Black women saying that Black people are painting Jada as the villain because she's a Black woman and they always expect Black women to never show vulnerability or dissatisfaction when it comes to their marriages, and especially their marriages with Black men, and especially when they are with successful, high-earning Black men like Will. And I 100% agree that that is a big part of why Black people are upset, even though it's also because of Jada's behavior as well, which I'll talk more about in a minute. But Will is not only a bigger star than Jada and is more liked in general by the Black community, but he is also a high-value Black man with a nice guy image. And y'all know to the Black community, especially now with these, high value conversations online, Black men of any caliber, but especially what's considered to be a high value Black man, can do no wrong. And if he does, he's immediately forgiven. He's given a lot of grace and he's expected to be coddled by the Black community and especially by Black women. And if they actually marry a Black woman, she and every Black woman on the planet should be grateful and never complain about their flaws. I've talked about this in the past. That is how both genders in the Black community see it. So Black people are looking at Jada like, chick, you got it all. And you over here crying about being in love with a Pookie who died in 95 when you have this good, perfect, wholesome, high value Black man who married you and still loves you and wants to be with you even after you've embarrassed and emasculated him. To see my exclusive content, visit Chrissy VIP at ChrissyOnline.com and be sure to join the mailing list for updates on future videos. The links are in the description box. Please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for watching. According to Black people, she never loved him and she cheated on him even though he admitted himself to having his own side pieces and wanting a harem of girlfriends. And it's just wild to me that for years, y'all speculated that Will and Jada had an open relationship or an open marriage. And now that you found out it was actually true, you're mad and you're telling them to take you out of the group chat and stop talking because it ruined your fantasy, your fantasy of Black love. And I think a lot of Black women especially see a man like Will and look at Jada and y'all are like, girl, you hit the jackpot. You got it all. This wealthy Black man that most Black women would only dream of having. And even though I understand where that way of thinking comes from, it's important that everyday Black women not project your fantasies onto Jada in this marriage. You do not know Will personally. You know his characters in movies. You know the facade he's putting out to the world. You don't know what kind of husband he is. You don't know how you would feel if you were with him for 20 years. Only Jada knows what that's like. You don't know what that's like. And y'all really need to stop glamorizing these celebrity relationships. Now, with that said, as a person who understands image and optics, especially as it pertains to Black women, I also know there's more to it than Jada just being criticized because she's a Black woman. A big reason why Jada looks like the villain in this relationship is because she's doing a lot of talking. She's seemingly doing more press for her book than Will did for his book, and she's sharing more details about the marriage out of her own mouth than Will did. This also comes after he slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars on her behalf, which definitely made Black women love him even more. It also comes after August Alsina revealed he and Jada's entanglement. And again, Will had his own flings, but the difference is none of his side pieces told their business like August Alsina did. And even though it wasn't Jada who revealed the information, it still left a bad taste in everyone's mouth that Jada would even be dealing with August in the first place, being that he was supposedly introduced to the family through her son Jaden. And even with that, I see Black people saying, oh, well, she slept with August, she emotionally manipulated her son's friend. But this is coming from the same people who had their cape on for R. Kelly and countless other Black men who do the same thing to young Black women. And y'all said that those young Black women who were actually minors when it came to the R. Kelly situation, y'all said that they knew what they were doing and they were fast and trying to be grown. But August, who was a grown man when he started dealing with Jada, is being infantilized and treated like a child. And I'm not saying there wasn't an imbalanced power dynamic going on between her and August, either because of the age difference or the class difference or both. But I just can't take Black people's outrage about that seriously when, as a community, y'all don't have the same smoke and disgust for Black men who engage in the same behavior. And again, this is not about me defending Jada, because like I said, I don't think either party is a victim in this situation. It just looks like fake outrage to me when y'all talk about her and August Alsina and the age difference. So outside of the bad optics coming from Jada, that is one area I do think y'all are showing your bias in because Jada is a Black woman. And again, I do think if Will was doing what Jada was doing and professing his love or infatuation for one single woman like Jada is doing with Tupac, the public will be mad at him as well. So I think a lot of the backlash is because how Jada's moving and also because she's a Black woman. Both can be true at the same time. And like I told y'all a year ago, I don't think Jada is controlling Will. He is a grown man. And I'll say it like the manosphere tells Black women who end up with pookies that don't act right or men who don't meet their expectations. Will should have chose better. And while I think Jada has her issues, I'm still not about to coddle Will or feel sorry for him. Absolutely not. The way I see it is these are two non-traditional people who forced themselves into a traditional marriage for money, for clout, and for social currency. They wanted to showcase this image of a power couple, a Black power couple. They wanted to paint this picture of perfect Black love. And because that actually does not exist, they failed at projecting that image. But nobody is the victim here. They are literally the same type of person. It's just that Will is better at covering it up and playing the game publicly. And we know that a lot of niggas don't read, so of course they're not going to know the juicy details in Will's book unless he goes on a million press tours to talk about what's in the book like Jada is doing with hers. But all this pretending by the manosphere that Will is this perfect, traditional Black man that doesn't have any flaws, that needs to stop. That whole narrative about Black men needs to stop in general. I'm all for Black women choosing better men and choosing high value men. But this idea that high value equals perfect or high value automatically means you're traditional, that allows Black men and really men in general who aren't broke but may have a host of other terrible qualities, it gives them way too much of a pass for me. Because as we can see with these so-called good high value Black men online, the majority of them are not actually good Black men and they certainly are not traditional men. Will Smith is not a traditional man if he's openly talking about wanting a harem of girlfriends while he's married. So the men trying to use Jada as an example of an uncooperative, non-traditional Black woman, and that's why Black men are seeking traditional women in other countries, that's cap. Please name a Black woman who is a wife of a famous Black man like Will who is doing what Jada is doing. I'll wait. There are also plenty of Black women condemning Jada right now, just like they were praising Will for slapping Chris Rock on her behalf. So trying to use Jada's behavior to justify Black men choosing to go overseas for women, in my opinion, is a smokescreen. Creating a facade of traditionalism and actually being traditional is two different things. And Jada is not traditional either. According to what I'm reading, she never wanted to be a wife. But again, she forced herself into that role with Will for the benefits and prestige that came with that position. The only people making this union primarily about love are everyday Black people, when this is a union that was formed by rich people out of convenience, opportunism, and business. And that is why Will and Jada are not getting a divorce right now. Everyday Black people and Black women especially need to stop being so invested in this relationship, as well as other celebrity relationships, and stop coddling Will, please. And I just have to touch on the colorism aspect of this again because I think it's relevant. Ladies, Jada is not dark skinned. So to see dark skinned women especially condemning Jada on Will's behalf, that to me is so cringy, and it looks crazy because Will, to my knowledge, has never been seen with a dark skinned woman. And before anyone says, oh, well, Jada isn't light skinned, she was considered a preference in the 90s when she was popular, and she is considered a lighter skinned woman where I'm from. Maybe light brown skin at best. So this to me is another instance where dark-skinned Black women especially should have remained neutral. But of course, y'all are out here caping for Will. And I'm sure Will has access to plenty women of all complexions that would date him. So let's not play the, oh, no dark-skinned women wanted him game. This is a wealthy Black man. I'm sure Black women of all complexions, women of all races want him. And him not dating a dark-skinned woman is fine. But light-skinned women and non-Black women are simply his preference. And I'm tired of Black men trying to hide other Black men's preferences, especially rich and wealthy Black men, behind lack of submissiveness coming from Black women or lack of traditionalism, when Black women just simply aren't their preference. They just like light, bright, and white. That's just what they like. Jada and Black women as a collective not being traditional was not Will's problem, because he has proven that he, for the most part, is not a traditional man, even down to the way he raises his children. And again, they want to blame that on Jada, but no, they raised them children together, but neither of them raised their children to be traditional. So outside of them entering marriage, which is a traditional institution, they overall are just not traditional people. And I cannot stress that enough. Jada is who Will chose. If he wanted something different, he should have chose better. They are both grown. They are both choosing to stay together and not get divorced at this point in time. So there is no point in getting upset about it. Move on. So I am done here. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll catch up with you in the next video.